Hey guys, welcome to FM Driving School, and today we got some good and bad news in regards to how you can book your driving test and the availability. We're gonna post everything on our site fmdrivingschool.co.uk, and we're gonna show you how you can hopefully get a driving test booked quite quickly. But in terms of DVSA and what they've said, so this is the email sent from the official government body DVSA, and they're gonna go through exactly what they've done in regards to the strikes that they were planning, as well as how they're gonna open up more driving slots. So as you know, a few weeks ago, we made a video about how DVSA were planning to bring about an extra driving test in the day, so 8 tests per day, meaning more tests can happen, therefore the backlog can be reduced. But then what resulted from that was the examiners were going to go on strike, therefore those who had a test would have been further delayed because your test would have been rearranged. So now DVSA have slightly come to a resolution, and we're going to go into exactly what they said. So let's quickly read it. Following my recent letter I sent to you on 15th of October, I would like to update you on the new development on driver testing. Further progress has been made with industrial action talks with the PCS, which I'll be going into more detail in this letter. We're also launching our next phase of driving examiner recruitment, and this obviously, if they get more driving examiners, this will reduce the backlog of driving test waiting time. Be prepared of our plans of okay. We're also working on developing a range of other regulatory measures aimed at making every test count. These will encourage learners to be fully prepared and modernized further elements of the driving test. We're aiming to launch the consultation this autumn. This actually might be slightly bad news because it could potentially mean that rules might come into place before you take your driving test. For example, maybe minimum amount of hours, or maybe if you make too many mistakes, they may say to you have to wait about 2 months before you can take another test. That's what they mean by this particular paragraph. But nothing has been cemented yet. Okay, so first of all, the industrial action is what we need to think about, or which will affect us. We have been in talks with the PCS. This is the people that are trying to make the strike happen. We have agreed to spend the next 12 months working with the local driving test managers and examiners to develop a plan to rebuild trust between our colleagues and DVSA. PCS balloted their members, and more than 90% voted to accept the agreement they reached with us. PCS sent us a message on the 9th of November confirming that they are no longer in dispute with us. So for the next 12 months, hopefully there won't be any strikes as of yet. This means for the next 12 months, we are taking any move to an 8 test day out of our planning, and no test will be impacted by industrial action or actions short of a strike. So the bad news is there's not going to be 8 tests per day, so there's not going to be an extra slot per day, meaning the waiting list will carry on continuing as it is for now. But the good news is there's going to be no strikes, so no further delays or any tests being cancelled or rearranged. This is great news for all of us, especially your pupils with tests booked in the coming weeks and months. So that's the biggest news for us, the latest news from your driving school, FM Driving School. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe with us for the latest updates. We're going to carry on reading the email, but please guys, go to our site, FM Driving School. Let me just bring it back up. That's our site there, FM Driving School. Got loads of info on how to pass your driving test. Let's go back. But at the same time, let's see what else the DVSA is saying in this email. So this will also help us out. We have increased car test throughput by 25% since May, but the high demands for tests continues. I will be hopefully starting a service soon in order to help you guys find a driving test and theory test within 2 weeks, within a month. So we're going to have that on our site coming very, very soon. Look out for that. But apparently, so they've increased tests about 25% since May, which is not bad. We've reached our next phase to recruit more driving examiners in England, Scotland, and Wales. This will help reduce the waiting list as well. You guys don't need to really read too much into that. Be prepared. This might affect those of you thinking of doing a driving test, even if you're not ready, because the waiting is so long. We've had, I'm sure driving examiners have had to experience students taking driving tests when they're not ready, which can be a really scary process, especially for driving examiners, as they don't know who you are. They can't. They don't really want to intervene, but if they do, they know that you would fail. Okay, be prepared campaign. Let's see what this means. We are now ready to begin further research work to help us to design some new campaign messages aimed at learner drivers. We will use messages to help learner drivers to understand how long it will take to learn to drive. We'll encourage them to book and take driving tests only once they're ready to help reduce driving test waiting times. Prior to the pandemic, we carried out research with you. Your pupils and your examiners will have been extremely valuable. Okay, I'm grateful to you for taking your time to give us your feedback. To supplement this, we are carrying out two new research projects. The first is to explore the influences that families and friends have on learners. The second is looking in depth at the learning to drive process from learners' perspective, and where we can provide more timely support information. We consulted the NASP on these projects and took into account their comments with our approach. My colleague has published a blog. Okay, can you go check that out? In the meantime, some of your pupils, ex-pupils, or their family and relatives may be contacted by the research companies to ask them to take part. There you have it. They might message you. I'd be extremely grateful if you could encourage them to take part. Okay, driving test consultation. We will be launching a government consultation on the range of proposed driving test changes, which are planning to publish in autumn. These measures will help make sure learners are properly prepared before taking their driving test. Keep you in contact. We understand the last 18 months have been challenging for you and your families and your businesses, and even now we are still working towards a new normal. Rest assured, we are continuing to work on further plans to try to reduce driving tests waiting times as quickly as possible. Okay, so from that email, obviously it's a bit vague. They're not really going to too deep in exactly what's happening, but it does seem like because of the impact of the waiting list of the driving tests, as well as obviously they're thinking people are taking tests who are not ready. They're saying that as well. They're thinking they may try to change their test or maybe have some like conditions before you take your driving test. That's what it seems like, but they're on the research process right now. Nothing's changing immediate. Nothing is going to change immediately right now, but that's what they're thinking of for future action. So be alert, be aware that driving tests may change in the near future in order to reduce the waiting list. I think that's what it seems like, but obviously we're going to keep you updated. And as I said, go to our site FM Driving School. We're going to have hopefully a system where you can find a way to find your driving test a little bit more quicker, because obviously we have certain links that can help you find the test a bit quicker. So go to our site FM Driving School. Don't forget guys to like, share and subscribe.